Hey, what's up everyone? My name is College Sports Revived and I appreciate you spending some time on the channel today. Welcome to episode number 57 of the College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode series featuring Coach Carter and his Fordham Rams roster. So we've completed the 5th season of the series, accomplishing a feat that the Fordham basketball program has never done since joining the A-10 back in 1991. After an impressive win over a talented UMass team to end the year, Fordham finished 12-4 in league play, which was just enough to win the regular season crown for the first time ever in their Atlantic 10 lifespan and enter the conference bracket as the top dogs. So we crossed out that milestone just for us to chase another in this episode. The Fordham Rams have never won the A-10 tournament ever as well, but that's what Coach Carter and his troop has their eyes on as the 1 seed here in year 5. The road to being champions will not be easy though, as the A-10 has 7 squads who finish with at least 10 conference wins this season, with 3 of those clubs in the top 25. Even our first matchup won't be a tune-up game for us, as we'll open up against the winner of a Richmond versus Temple game, 2 teams that have a win against us this season. But we'll find out our opponent in just a few short moments as we sim through each and every game of this bracket. First game of the A-10 tournament will be UMass against LaSalle. The winner will play the 2 seed St. Louis as the 14th ranked Billikens try to get over their early postseason exits that have played them in this series, and there's no surprise there as the Minutemen blow out LaSalle by 18. The 23rd ranked Hawks of St. Joe's should have an easy win over Xavier, but the winner will play the 3rd seed George Washington, and the Hawks topple the Musketeers by almost 30. The winner of Duquesne and Dayton will battle Charlotte in round 2, and this was a close one. The Flyers just scraped by a gritty Duke's team, and now it's time to find out who we will be playing in our first playoff game of season 5, the 8 versus 9 seed, who will come out on top. And Temple will be the one taking this one by a basket, 67-65, peeping the box score. It's lucky we don't have to play Richmond's Jarius Jointer at least. He dropped 23 in this one and he had 30 when we played them. But instead we're going to have to guard Eric Sullivan, arguably the best shooter in the league, who led the Owls to this win with a team high 18 points and 2 threes. So the Owls have been a top-tier team all series long, but only finished this year with around a 500 record in Season 5, and that's because they had possibly the most turnover across the entire conference last offseason. They have a brand new coach hailing from Akron, and 7 freshmen who see the floor on a nightly basis. Eric Sullivan's offensive ability is nothing to joke about though, and with arguably our best defender back in the lineup, Pat Park, I think you know where I'm going with this. That's right, we're going to let Pat shadow Eric Sullivan everywhere he goes, and we're going to try to force one of these many upperclassmen to be the ones that go out there and beat us. You know, we're going to just try to limit Sullivan, and we're going to live with the result of that. That's Coach Carter's game plan here on defense as we try to bounce back against Temple and start off the playoff bracket off the right foot. So here we go, guys. Fordham, the Atlantic 10's 1 seed for the first time in their history. Let's tip it off as winner go home basketball is finally underway. Will Coach Carter have his players ready for the pressure of being the team to beat? That is the burning question in this one. As look at this, Kai Hendry behind the back pass to Damian Carter. He opened up the lane for a second for his teammate, but Damian Carter off the mark on that layup, but it's okay. I like the idea of that play. I like the behind the back pass and the drive. It's cool. It's good to see that these guys are playing a little bit flashy. They're playing loose. They're not nervous at all for this game. Lloyd Hicks with the layup for our first basket, but how did he get so wide open? Oh, it was Bennett Pinkala setting a bludgeoning screen on sophomore Isaiah Beecham. That's what I'm talking about there. I want to throw a haymaker here in round 1. I want to show these other A-10 opponents that are so accustomed to winning that we are going to be the next team up on the block. How about this though? Musa Colbert, the 2 guard for the Temple Owls, who I think has a lot of potential to become a really good player. He had a double-double in our last meeting, 10 points, 10 assists. I think he's going to be the guy to take over the throne once Eric Sullivan leaves this offseason. 10-6 early lead for Temple. We need a basket here, and the friendly bounce of Kai Hendry will provide just that. Actually provides some relief, to be honest, because after that Lloyd Hicks layup, we only had 4 free throws. Hadn't had a field goal since, but that really helps us get back, hopefully, back to our smooth ways here on offense as Pat Park breaks them down with the dribble drive. Hendry with the quick trigger finger for 3-pointer number 2. And man, it feels like every time we go through a little bit of adversity on that side of the floor, Kai Hendry is the one to pick us up, as him and Pat Park, They are assisting each other. The chemistry's back. It's good to see they didn't miss a beat after Pat Park missed some time last episode due to injury. Musa Colbert there. Another basket as Temple through the first 9 minutes of the game. Keeping pace here with the 1 seed. Damian Carter reversal to Dustin Black. Inside to Chen Lee, who makes the nice little 8-foot baby jumper. Great job moving the ball against the Temple zone. So Temple's going to play a lot of different defenses against us. They'll play some man, they'll play some 2-3. They went 2-3 on that possession as Eric Sullivan finally has his first field goal. Pat Park's doing a great job on the all-conference guard so far, but one thing we haven't been doing a great job of is the mental mistakes in terms of turnovers. That's been a problem for both teams, and it's part of the reason why both teams only have 22 points apiece with under 4 to play in this one. And here we go, another one. Now it's Pat Park turning it over. A rare mistake there. But we get it right back. It's Junior Battle hustling back, getting the deflection. He's that spark plug off the bench every time, it seems like, for us. And this will open up a pass out to the perimeter. Dustin Black for 3. Great assists by Damian Carter. I know Dustin Black was really eager to get back out on the floor. He was the only guy who really didn't play well in that UMass win last episode. He had 11 scoreless minutes, but now he's back in the scoring column. 90 seconds left to play in the first half, up by 5, our biggest lead of the game, and that continues. Behind the back dish to Damian Carter. Who else would deliver a feed like this other than the coach's kid? The coach on the floor, I might add. Damian Carter, man, he has been wheeling and dealing in this one. We break 30 points, and we look to improve on that, but we can't at the free throw line. Pat Parks missed a couple from the charity stripe here in the first half. Now it's a 3-possession game for the first time in this ball game. Eric Sullivan not out on there on the floor. It's actually the backup Marcus Dabney, but you couldn't tell with the way he hit that 3. That was very Sullivan-esque, and Dabney hits a huge shot to keep them in the game. And now it's Quantrell Coulter this time around, a 5'11 sophomore from Philly. He now gets a bucket with a foot on the line, and Temple has made some jumpers. They have the 6-man meter back full. I'm not sure if I like this. They're starting to gain momentum back with 10 seconds to play here in the first half. But Lloyd Hicks has something to say about that, crashing the glass at a high level and reaching 10 points here in the first half. The only player out on the floor to have that distinction. He'd make the free throw, and we go back into the half, back up to a 7-point advantage. That's what I'm talking about right there. So Fordham's been getting to the line. They've made some shots both inside and out, really balanced offensive attack, and they're holding Temple to 41%. And Eric Sullivan only has 5 points in this one, so Pat Park doing his job. Everything really good for Fordham so far. It feels like they should be up by more than 7, but I think it's just the turnovers that are keeping Temple in this game. But Lloyd Hicks, the only player with double figures in this ball game for either team, we got to keep using him. I feel like sometimes when we lose these games in conference, it's because we do too much out on the perimeter. We got to keep this balanced attack going. As Pat Park, look at this, beginning the second half, and he's missed yet another free throw. I believe he's 2 for 6 now from the line in this game, so we're definitely leaving some very important points there at the line. 4-point advantage for Fordham, but then that gets cut in half with an Isaiah Beacham poster on top of Lloyd Hicks to get the crowd back into it for the Temple Owls. We saw this last episode. Lloyd Hicks on the receiving end of a poster. He bounced back against UMass and had a huge second half. It kind of charged him up, if anything. Well, the body language doesn't look too good here as he jogs back, but let's see what he has in store for us. Will he respond to this dunk like he did in the UMass game just an episode ago? Well, let's find out here. 5 seconds here on this possession for the Temple Owls. Great defense there by Lloyd Hicks. Might have got a piece of it, and he's out running, beating everyone up the floor to dunk it down himself. And he puts it down on top of Isaiah Beacham as well. Okay, Lloyd Hicks, man. I think this proves to all people watching, whether you're a fan of Fordham or an opponent, I think he's shown you his makeup in spades these last couple episodes. Man, if you get Lloyd Hicks, he's gonna get you back. It's exactly what he does right there for the second game in a row, man. He's just something else. It's unbelievable. Lloyd Hicks, he's been one of my favorite players ever on this channel, no matter what series. Still up by 2, though. Pinkala, kick out. Pat Park, extra pass. Damian Carter, and that's one from the top of the key. That's what I'm talking about. Damian Carter, man, he actually had 2 really good games without Pat Park in the lineup. He was probably the only guy that benefited in Pat's absence. He had 10 points, 5 assists in one game, 11.6 assists in the other. Eric Sullivan, though, tags him back for a 3. And it's been pretty impressive, though, still. Temple takes the lead. It's a little bit worrying, but at least it's other guys beating us and not Eric Sullivan. That's a trend I will continue to back the further we get along into this game. Pat Park, yes, gets the roll. Next basket there as the offense start to heat up. Park with 11 in his second game back, fully healthy from injury. 5:35 left to go. Terrell Kitts, high post to Isaiah Beacham. Back out. Pat Park, just too slow. Oh my goodness, now it's Terrell Kitts from 3, a guy who doesn't see the floor very much. So definitely the jump shooting for Temple has sparked a little bit here in the second half. They were only 1 for 5 from the 3-point line in the first half. You knew that wasn't going to stay in its course. But this time, though, it's Nick Jallo playing some key minutes and giving Pat Park a well-deserved rest for a short amount of time. Comes out of nowhere for a huge block, and then Lloyd Hicks will pave the path for him. Nick Jallo spotting up for 3, and he takes the lead. He gets it done on both ends. Book it for the Palo Alto native. Oh my goodness, what a shot. We go into the next timeout, the next stoppage of play with the lead. Man, you know, when it comes to playoff basketball, sometimes it's about those unsung heroes that will step up in a big way, and that was actually my mistake. He didn't come in for Pat Park. He was actually giving Kai Hendry a rest, who checks back in after that timeout. But Nick Jallo, man, coming up in a big way, calls his own number, and gets it done. And Kaya Hendry, after that well-deserved break, he comes in with fresh legs and forces a turnover, so now we have the ball and the possession, or rather the lead and the possession, and Damian Carter to the rack all the way. 7 points for the coach's kid. That was beautiful. Faked like he was going to use Lloyd Hicks' screen, and he doubles back, and he goes the opposite way. They just couldn't cover him on that take. So now a 2-point lead. Lloyd Hicks drawing a double. Let's see the kick around to Kai Hendry. He gets inside to the middle, but it's Isaiah Beacham forcing a turnover. That's a huge play for the Temple Owls. A semifinal appearance on the line. Eric Sullivan drops in the floater from the baseline. That was a much tougher shot than it looked, as Sullivan still breaks 10 on the game. Kai Hendry, though, wants the lead right back, but he misses. Oh, man, that shot almost went down. That would have brought this house down. But I don't know if Coach Carter was the biggest fan of that shot. Still plenty of time to shoot on that possession. And now Temple has a chance to take the lead. Sullivan, though, has a shot tipped. Kaya Hendry, he blocks it out of thin air and gives us another possession right back. Lloyd Hicks, when he's that deep, you don't have a chance to stop him. 17 on the night for Lloyd Hicks, but how about Kaya Hendry getting a piece of Eric Sullivan's shots? I never thought I would utter that sentence, but that's exactly what just happened. What a play by Hendry, and what an assist setting up his man on the other end. So now 42 seconds left. Did you guys expect a game like this to open up A-10 play? Man, this conference is just a dogfight through and through. So many talented teams. Even a team like this with only 6 conference wins, they'll have a chance to tie the game here as Eric Sullivan rides the baseline. That was a really nice back cut there. And unfortunately, Pat Park just lost track of him for just a second, but at least Lloyd Hicks will foul hard to prevent the easy bucket. But when you have an 84% free throw shooter like Eric Sullivan at the line, you know, it's about all guaranteed that he's going to knock down 2 for 2. Sullivan, 16 points, 3.5 assists on his senior year. He's had a really memorable career here at Temple, and he's trying to keep it alive. 2 for 2 for the 6'2 senior. 31 seconds left, got to break this press. Turnovers have been a problem, and maybe that's why Kai Hendry thinks better of this one and pulls it out. The Fordham Rams, the top dogs in the conference, in the driver's seat. They can determine what happens here. 15 to go, Damian Carter. 13 to go, the coach's kid. Waiting for a pick, it's Lloyd Hicks, gives him a screen, he's not open. 6 seconds, Damian Carter puts his head down and gets inside, and he's fouled. Musa Colbert fouls the coach's kid. And Damian will have a chance to send us to the next round from the free throw line. The pick and roll with Lloyd Hicks provided no result, so Damian Carter, showing off his improv skills, will have a chance to avoid this upset. What a play. So Damian Carter, our best free throw shooter out of anybody in our starting five, 81% on his sophomore year. The first of two. It's off. That one is well short. Oh man, he needed that front end. So now it all rides on this one. Damian Carter puts it through. The Fordham Rams up by a point with 3 to go. Colbert turns and fires, caught by Vic Trudeau, who calls timeout right off the catch. What a smart play. He might have caught Pat Park there napping a little bit. So now Temple will have it right, on their baseline with 1 second to go. Dean Pinnock, the inbounder, to Eric Sullivan for the win, and it's short. That looked way too good for my liking, but we pull it out, 62-61. Temple with no upset today in the cards. The 1 seed Fordham survives. What a game. This was a classic. Lloyd Hicks was 17 and 7 and 3 blocks, but he wasn't the only one with a key block there at the end. Man, Kaya Hendry blocking Eric Sullivan's 3 there that would have taken the lead with only a minute to go. That also played a huge part in this one. But look at this, Eric Sullivan, 12 points on 12 shots. Pat Park locked him up, and we get our revenge on Temple. I know it wasn't all that pretty, guys, but as the old adage goes, it's just about surviving and advancing, and that's exactly what we just did. A little too close for comfort, but we can fix that here in the semifinals coming up. So we're going to recap the rest of the second round. The 2 seed St. Louis and their elite defense, they fall to the top offense in the country, UMass, 63-50. They only posted 50 points in that loss. And honestly, St. Louis was one of the teams I feared the most this year, so them showing them the door definitely got a smile out of me. Another good game on paper between George Washington and St. Joe's, but how about this? A 22-point win will move on George Washington to play against UMass in the semis. And now it's time to find out our opponent. 2 scary teams could possibly await us, and Charlotte and Dayton, and the Flyers sneak it out 50-49. Some great defenses displayed here in the second round, with 4 teams failing to clear 50 points in this bracket. So on the bottom half, the 3 seed George Washington faces the 7 seed Massachusetts. On the top half, it's the 1 seed Fordham against the 5 seed Dayton. And their game is going to be played first, so we're going to sim that one real quick. I would prefer to play UMass personally, especially considering the way we smoked them on their home court on the last game of the year, just last episode. But George Washington has also been a rival of ours too in this legacy mode, so it'd be fun to play them as well. And the Revs pull it out, adding to the list of 1-score games here played in the A-10 tournament. Let's see if this Fordham and Dayton game has the same intensity. Let's hope for our sake that we can avoid any drama, actually, like we did. That we couldn't avoid any drama, I should say, in the first game of the tournament for us. I know Dayton must be licking their chops when they saw they're going to be playing us for a chance in the title game. It was only last episode when they knocked us off by 8 with their star guard pouring in 30 on our defense. I wouldn't be surprised if they were feeling perhaps a little overconfident, you could say, entering this matchup. But there's one key detail they might be overlooking. One major factor that didn't participate in the previous meeting. We did not have a healthy Project Pat for that game. He entered when we were down double digits and only played 8 points to try to provide a spark, but he's 100% to go now. He's good to go, and just like Eric Sullivan, I want him shadowing all-conference point guard Tony Blythe, the man who dropped 30 on us in that loss. It's a lot to put on one player's shoulders for the second game in a row, but a big game tonight on both ends. And I think Pat Park may be cementing himself as a legend on the channel. If he can have a big game and we can score this win, I think he's going to be etching his name among the channel greats if he hasn't already. Alright fellas, it's time to find out just how valuable Pat Park is in our starting 5. The 24-7 Dayton Flyers against the 23-7 Fordham Rams. With a trip to the A-10 title against George Washington on the line, we're trying to make it 2 out of 3 years making it to the A-10 title. And how about this right here? Kaya Hendry to Pat Park right out of the gate. I think Park is ready for showtime. And look at this, first play of the game, up in Tony Bly's pocket right at the timeline. Oh no, he hits him with the crossover though, and he makes the three. Oh man, Tony Bly is such a baller. 30 points in the previous meeting, and he does not bat an eye when he saw Pat Park coming out and guarding him from the timeline. Nope, not rattled at all. But yeah, Coach Carter and Fordham Rams basketball trying to make it 2 out of 3 years to the A-10 title game. They missed out last season as they got upset pretty early on despite having a first-round bye. And there's Rylan Wilson for 3 taking the lead for the Dayton Flyers. He is a 49% three-point shooter. That's right, I said 49%. That's the second leading scorer on the team. There he is in the post, extending Dayton's lead. And he's, that's a pretty good, volume from 3 as well. He's tempted 104 on the year, so that's insane efficiency. But the pace of this game, man, it's going a lot faster than Temple, I'll tell you that right now. Damian Carter bounce pass inside to you-know-who, Lloyd Hicks. This has got to be his tournament, man. If we're going to finally get it done and win the A-10 for the first time in this series, Lloyd Hicks has to star in the paint. And look at this now, Bennett Pincala playing defense like he can. Pat Park out on the break. Man, this game is being played at a track meet pace. Timeout Dayton. A lot of scoring here in the early stages. And now with 7:23 left to go, Nick Jallo checks in, who actually did have a good game against Dayton in the loss in the previous meeting. Junior Battle out there as well. But Nick Jallo, the mid-range specialist, friendly shooter's bounce for his first points of the contest. Timeout Flyers. And man, if Fordham could get back to the A-10 title game, it would be in a much different fashion than they did in Season 3. They had to, go all the way from being a team without a bye to the championship game as Nick Jallo scores 2 more there for 6 on the night. But yeah, back in Season 3, that historic run, man, that was a lot of fun when we made it all the way and lost to Xavier in the title game. This time, though, we want to get it done if we can just get by Dayton. And let's see, we're building a nice lead here. Damian Carter in and out to Bincala, to Nick Jallo. So good from mid-range as the Oregon State transfer is hot right now. He's up to 8 points off the bench. And if you remember, it was a pretty up and down episode for Nick Jallo last time out. He had 3 good games, including a 9.4 for 5 performance, but he also had 2 bad games as well, including giving up 30 points to Jerry's Jointer on Richmond. Look at this, though. The dynamic duo of Pat Park and Kai Hendry channeling themselves and linking up there. But yeah, Nick Jallo, up and down episode last time out, but I think he's a lot more comfortable just being off the bench and staying off the bench. You won't have to worry about his role, increasing and decreasing anymore. Now hear about this, Pat Park working off a screen. He wants the elbow ISO. He's been the hottest player out on the floor here. Look at this, over his right shoulder with a kiss off the glass. Showing off the ambidextrous touch there. Pat Park with 15 and has not missed from the field in this one. Rylan Wilson, though, ends this shootout of a first half in a very fitting way, making one at the buzzer. And he's got 12 for the Flyers to lead their attack. So it's a 42-35 absolute run and gun game here in the semifinals. Much different tune than the Temple Owls game. Look at that, only 12 rebounds combined between these two teams. That just show you the lack of missed shots and how fast this game has been played. Pat Park with 15 to lead all scorers. Did I tell you, or did I tell you? Project Pat, man, probably felt a little bit of guilt, playing a little bit hurt and coming in a little bit too late in that first Dayton Flyers meeting. But, obviously you can't control when you get hurt. But doesn't mean that he's still not a competitor and he was itching to get back out here and beat this team. Well, we're not done yet, but it's looking pretty good if we can just keep this up. Alfred McKell now checks in and he'll turn and fire and knock down a 3. That's a huge shot to begin the Flyers' second half of action. That's Alfred McKell, a 6'3 senior, the 5th leading scorer on the team from Cleveland, Ohio. He makes a big bucket there and he tries to set a screen here for Rylan Wilson. But then he receives the kick out after he was cut off, and it's 2 more huge points for McKell. I talked about it just last game. It's about those unsung heroes that can get you back into a game or even win you one in postseason play. Perhaps that's what McKell has on mind here in the second half. Pat Park, though, continues with the offensive onslaught. 17 for Project Pat with only 1 missed shot to this point. Man, there's nothing else I could really say about my man, Pat Park. Rylan Wilson gets the shot blocked. Finally, we're starting to slow him down. And Kaya Hendry and Pat Park, man, you could have shut your eyes whenever you saw them have a 2-on-1. You knew exactly how that was going to result, or end in the result. It was going to end in a basket. You knew that, from the very beginning. Kaya Hendry and Pat Park, neither of them are the best passer on the team, but for some reason, when it comes to finding each other, they have eyes like Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Magic Johnson, you name it. They always seem to find themselves. Now it's Lloyd Hicks throwing up the up fake and putting the ball in the deck. Pretty impressive play there, as we have yet another Fordham Ram in double digits. We need Lloyd Hicks, like I said earlier. We need him to have a big tournament, because the jump shots may not always be there like they are today. So we need Lloyd Hicks to put in those double-doubles down low to give us a little bit of stability inside and out. But how about Nick Jallo? He's going to go inside on this possession, slashing, making something out of nothing, completely leaving Ja'Cory Nivens dazed and confused there as he put the ball on the deck and zoomed right past him. A 7-point game now with 4:15 left to go. Just need a stop or two to really seal this one. Lloyd Hicks can't close out on J-Ron Crockett soon enough. The Dayton Flyers break that press. Maybe we ought to take that press off so we can force them to play a little bit slower, because that's only going to speed them up, and that's how they like to play. 5-point advantage for the Fordham Rams, knocking on the door of that title game, trying to make it 2 in the last 3 years. Lloyd Hicks brings the double. Damian Carter spots up from the corner, the hero from last game. 1, 2, 3. That's a huge shot by the coach's kid. Oh man, what a play there. And then Lloyd Hicks, more grid basketball as he finds himself with a trip to the line. He's been shooting his free throws really well recently. I wish I had a stat or something to really show how he's improved his free throw shooting. I don't, but it's just something I've noticed recently. But Tony Blythe hitting Pat Park with a stop and go move. What a play there. We got to start to keep track of these guys in the open court. We can't keep letting them have these quick possessions resulting in points. But at least Tony Blythe only has 8 points with that free throw on the game. So Pat Park, once again, A+ job on defense. What a tournament he's having. 2:47 to go. The pressure again goes to Fordham as Dayton continues to chip away. 2:42. Pat Park in the post. Over the shoulder pass. Kaya Hendry. Man, that right corner has been really friendly to us here in this game. And it's back to a 7-point game. The Dayton Flyers continue to try to push the pace. It's Hank Carter trapped. Ja'Cory Nivens, ball reversal. Rylan Wilson rides the baseline, and this one's going the other way. Player control. Lloyd Hicks steps in and takes one on the chin. A charge in every sense of the word. Lloyd Hicks may have just sent us to the conference championship with an awesome defensive play. And that he would, fellas. 75-65. Again, it was one we had to sweat out a little bit. But again, we showed resiliency. And Fordham will be heading back to the A-10 championship to face former rival George Washington after a 10-point win. Their second appearance in the A-10 championship in 3 years after never making it before Coach Carter took the reins of this team. The celebration is on in the Bronx. 21 for Pat Park. Was he ready to take on Dayton and get his revenge? I think so. Look at this. Everyone in the starting lineup with at least a couple of assists to their name. Man, how about that? That's 16 assists from 5 players. Really impressive job from the starting lineup. And it was honestly one of the best offensive games we've ever played, I think, in this series in terms of efficiency, in terms of playing as a team. And check out Tony Blythe. 2 field goals and 4 attempts. Pat Park, man, what can't you do? So a 10-point win for Fordham will punch their ticket to the A-10 title game, and we'll be facing the 3-seed George Washington in the next episode. The George Washington Revolutionaries, who we have a rivalry in this series. Seems like we played a number of pretty awesome games against them in the past, but these last couple times we played them, we've kind of had their number, and that includes when we played them in the Season 3 conference tournament, and they were one of the top seeds, and we ended up destroying them and they were one of the teams that we beat to make the conference championship in season 3. So maybe they want their revenge for that loss. And it makes it even more interesting that both of these teams in the A-10 championship are projected 6 seeds in March Madness at this current moment, as you can see there. So it's going to be really interesting. Not only will this punch one of our tickets as an automatic team in March Madness, but this will also have plenty of seeding implication, as both teams in the latest projected bracket are 6th in their seeding. But who knows, man? This could bump us up to a 5, maybe a 4, if we could go out and put on a show against our former rivals. So that's coming in the next episode. Fordham against George Washington, the 1 versus 3 seed. This has been a dogfight of an A-10 conference tournament like we were expecting. It's time to leave it all out there, as I'm College Sports Revive signing out. A lot of fun today, man. That Temple game had me sweating the entire way through, but I'm really stoked that we pulled that one out, that we were able to beat Dayton. And now let's try to beat our former rivals as well and hoist the first A-10 championship in the history of Fordham basketball. Coach Carter, once again, trying to knock off another milestone on his list. So stay tuned for that here on College Sports Revive. I'll see you guys soon.